So I'm based in Wolverhampton, but as a large charity, Change Lives and Large Charities, been on this journey of kind of trying to make things better for quite a while. And as we've grown as an organisation, you start putting in lots of systems and processes and structures to allow that work to be better and more successful and more streamlined and more efficient. And what we've come through the work that we've been doing recently through the impact work is realise that sometimes those structures and processes aren't always work for the best in terms of, are they meeting the needs of the people who are there to support, or is it about streamlining services, streamlining services within our infrastructure? So it's always sometimes that you feel like you're jumping through hoops to get to achieve the outcome you need for the person you're supporting. So for several years, we've been having a look at what does good look like for the people we work with, and we've got our framework of being, becoming and belonging, and that runs throughout the whole organisation, but different services do it in different ways. It's at the core of what we believe, but it's not always operated or exists in the way it should do, depending on what the service is. And as Changing Lives is quite a large organisation and has lots of different pillars in terms of our recovery and addiction work, our housing and homelessness work, our women's services, and also our employability work, you can imagine that principle can be quite varied throughout the organisation. So last year we started working with and talking to Andy Brogan from Easering, and he's got a long history of kind of working with organisations who've got lots of complexity, and he helped us to really think about what matters and how we can flourish and make things better for the work that we do. So we invited a few of us from across the organisation to become part of his team in terms of being impact consultants. And I was really sceptical, I'm going to be honest. Another initiative, come and get involved, come and make things change. And I thought, is this just going to be a waste of time? I've got a lot to do. I've got a caseload, I've got a team to manage. Have I really got the time to do this? And I think from the very first meeting, we just started really focusing on what the purpose was of the work that we do, what we really wanted from our outcomes. And so I kind of bought into it a little bit. We were invited to get involved in our first experiment, which is kind of focused at a piece of work in the North East and one of our housing projects. And what I really enjoyed about it and really I'm passionate about is that we actually did the real work, which is talking to the people we support, talking to the staff that deliver the service and really focusing at the needs and what we actually need to do in terms of making processes better. I'm not from the North East, so my perspective is very different on how to operate and what to do. And I think that actually helped in terms of changing perspectives, in terms of looking at what was happening through my questioning of, why do you do that? What's the purpose of that? Has anyone asked you this question before? Kind of really helped to kind of get to the details of what was really important. Through the process, we've had the executive team really buying into this work, really buying into the focusing on what's really important for those people that we support. And we've got to the point now where we've got some real key principles of what we want to do in terms of moving forward. So that's about really understanding that being, becoming, belonging is at the core of the work that we do. It's also about the fact that, like others have said already, about how having a front to back approach and it not just coming from a hierarchical structure, because as someone who works and supporting people on a regular basis, sometimes those hierarchical structures and information come down are completely meaningless to me and just make my life more difficult. So the fact that we're really focusing on having that front to back approach means that we can really prioritise on the decision making. We can really make a difference at where the problems are and problem solving in the right environments, rather than it being an abstract view. It's a real view. And then the other thing is also being really careful and understanding how important it is that we do no harm and that we stick to things that are about legalities, and also that we can sustain the work that we want to do with people. We found out along the way that lots of people don't always have the same viewpoint, but as long as you have the same core principle and you're working towards that, it unites everybody. We also know that how having that central function sometimes hinders, in fact, quite a lot hinders. There's always, we talk a lot about how finance systems get introduced, and that's not all. It's like introduced, for instance, like, oh, we're going to take away petty cash. Well, how do I get a bus ticket to get a woman into a direct access hostel who's been homeless on the street and sleeping if I can't get petty cash to get her a bus ticket? But that's because a principle of that has come from an abstract view of someone in finance. So it's about coming back to us as frontline workers and really thinking, how do we do the best job we can for you within the finance team? Also, it's really important that we give our staff who are supporting people the proper time to do the work that's necessary, so that we don't just focus on here's some training, here's a new initiative, here's a new system, actually give them the time and the space to really work on what they should be doing. And then also that can sometimes really affect us in terms of staff about feeling really disempowered, like we're not part of the decision making. We're the ones with the knowledge in terms of what needs to be happening with the people we're supporting, yet we're not allowed to be part of the decision making. So actually, by putting that back into our hands at the front, it helps us to make those decisions, helps us to feel like things are moving in the right direction. And then also, it's just really important that we remember the complexities of the people we support. Their lives are full of all sorts of things, and it's really important that we are individualising and supporting them in the needs that they've got and what they need, rather than it becoming a one size fits all, and also gives us, in terms of staff, the autonomy to be able to make those decisions and support those individuals in what they want to do next. So the main principles for the work moving forward, and we are now rolling out more experiments from the very first one we've done, which is going to be a long journey, I think, but really focusing across the organisation on that becoming, belonging is what we do, and it's the core of our work. Making sure that we think about what we do in terms of being front to back. We do no harm, and we adhere to legal and fulfilling our legal obligations, but also making sure the work we do is sustainable for the staff. That's me done.